Hey guys, Clayton Yates here. In this video, we're going to be going over the 2016 Camaro SS after 6 months of ownership and almost 10,000 miles. So it's at 9,000 and a little more right now. And I do daily drive the car, so I live with it every day. I got a lot of information here to go over with you guys. It's a really great car. There are a few things, but stay tuned. I'll go over those. So after 6 months and about 10,000 miles, wear items start to show their face. Front tires, really not too bad. You can see the wear bars here. Looks like the front tires do have quite a bit of life left. They have started to do a little bit of weird wear, but nothing unexpected. These tires are staggered, so you can't rotate them. I expect to be replacing these in another about 10,000 miles, so we're looking about 19,000 miles is about the maximum life I think I'm gonna get out of these tires. Let's take a look at the rear tires. The rear tires are not too happy. You got your wear bars here. So they do still have some life in them, but not much. I would say within about 3,000 miles, these rear tires are gonna have to be replaced. If I lived in an area that had snow or lots of rain, obviously they would need to be replaced sooner than that. Show you the brake dust. It's really heavy on this car. There are some things you can do to help eliminate brake dust, but overall, this is to be expected. I've washed it within the last week, and you can see it is definitely got some heavy brake dust. It's pretty heavy in the rear as well. Some cars are really prone to rock chips. This one seems to have a couple areas that are pretty prone to rock chips. Right back here in the back, I have noticed this area gets beat pretty hard. So this is right in front of the rear wheel. And you can see GM took a little bit of some steps to protect a lot of that. And that does help a lot. I've had to put some heavy wax on here a few times, some cleaner wax to really get that clean. But you can see you got a new rock chip there. And up here in the front, you can see where I filled a rock chip there, and as well as here. Another area is up here on this bulging rear fender. I've noticed rocks tend to like to hit in this area here as well. As you can see, I filled a rock chip right here. In the rear, the black is holding up really well. This is the black shiny piano black style finish. And I expected a lot more scratches and stuff from regular wash, but it's holding up really well. The exhaust tips, after just a short period of time, like I said, I just washed this and I clean these all the way clean every time. I'll scrub them till they're clean. And as you can see, developed some pretty heavy soot there. Some windshields are really prone to rock chips. This one, not so much. It doesn't seem to chip. It's not very flat. It's got a long rake to it. And that really does eliminate a lot of broken windshields. All right, guys, now moving on to the inside of the car. There are a few items in here which have caught me a little off guard. Overall, though, I'm very impressed with the wear. You can see this car stays pretty clean. This is after a little over a week of cleaning the interior. No real heavy dust. The seats are wearing really well, except for the famous seat issue right here. And my dealer has ordered some parts for this, but unfortunately the place they want me to take it to get it fixed, I'm not willing to drop my car off there. It's a shithole. And you can see getting in and out of the car, it's really hard to avoid these, your feet hitting here. The floor mats have worn really well. So you got to remember, this is after 6 months of daily use. And normally this is really clean, but I left it dirty on purpose just to show you guys. You can see the seat bolstering is still nice. My kids sit in the back all the time. They're back here every day after school. They do ride back here quite a bit. No complaints whatsoever on rear seat room for small children. So I did say in my introduction that there are some problems with this car. And in my opinion, you're looking at the only real problem, which is this radio right here. So this radio and I have developed a love-hate relationship. I love the view. I love the tilted display. The audio function, very good, love it. the settings function. Oh wow, look, driving modes is actually there. So that's one of the problems I've had with this radio. Driving modes constantly disappears. Just barely on my drive over here, I could not get the exhaust to change back into track mode from stealth mode because I couldn't get in here to driving modes. Now, I know a lot of you are going to say, well, it's adjustable here. Not if you go in here and manually select it. So right now it's stuck on track no matter what I do here. So that's important to know how that works. If I go up here and I put it on that, my exhaust, I don't know if you can hear it, but just went to tour mode because this is set in touring mode. Steering, you can also lock into whatever mode you prefer. I prefer tour mode. The steering is almost perfectly weighted in tour mode. In sport mode, it does get a little stiff, maybe a little too stiff for me. And track mode is just too stiff for anything, especially a track. So tour mode is where I go there. After 6 months and 10,000 miles, would I recommend the automatic transmission? Absolutely, I love it. It's a really good transmission. It shifts fast, it shifts firm, and there are some different settings here. You know, you got the different modes, which also affect transmission performance and how it shifts. So if you put it down into track mode, you're going to have a little bit different shifting than you would, say, in tour mode. In tour mode, it will stay fully automatic if you leave it in the automatic position. If you put it into sport or track and you go full throttle, the transmission will automatically go into a sport mode as if you're on a racetrack. So it will hold the gears, it will upshift, downshift when you're on the brakes automatically, which is pretty cool. All right guys, so now we're inside of the car. We're gonna go for a little bit of drive. I'm gonna talk about some of the characteristics of this car. All right guys, so I'm purposefully backing down a road right now, and I hear a lot of complaints this car is hard to back. I'm doing 20 miles an hour right now in reverse. I can clearly see behind me in this mirror, behind me in this mirror, behind me in this mirror. So driving the car, you do hear a little bit about visibility issues with this car. The seat has lots of adjustment, so I've always been able to adjust out any kind of visibility or seating issues. But yet I experience those with any car I've ever been in. So it's not like this car really has anything unique. You do sit down a little low in the car, but the plus to that is you always feel like you're sitting in something special. So as I'm driving down in the road in this car, I don't feel like I'm in some little shitbox econo car. It's a nice car, it feels substantial, and you can tell you're sitting in something that's meant to perform. It's not a boring car. You're sitting in something that's nice. So the seating position I really like. The seats, very comfortable, well bolstered. I got the cloth seats, as many of you know. And the reason I got those is because they really hold you in well. Just going around that corner there, I mean, I didn't take it real slow, but enough to where it put a little pressure and the seats really hold you well. So this is a pretty good corner coming up here. So we'll take it with a little speed and see how she does. We're doing probably right around a G. Car turns amazing. And it always puts a smile on my face. It's really fun. So here's a good turn up here. We'll go down a couple of gears. And that's the beauty of the Auto Trans. It's really good. Don't get me wrong. You can have fun with a manual transmission and you can do everything almost as good. Is it going to be as fast as this on a course or in certain situations? I just don't see how it's possible. The trans in this car, it shifts fast and you have easy control over it. So I think that's where it really comes in. What gear do you need to be in? You got different gear spacing with the auto versus the manual. So you're always in the right gear, which is really, really nice when you're coming through some corners in a manual. You know, say you're in second gear and it's just right where you need that, you almost need to downshift, but not quite. That's where the auto would pick that up because you have more gear spacing. So there's a gear that fits in there and it's easy to get to. Flick up the paddle and you're in the next gear. So the controls in this car are really easy to use. everything from the pedal shifter to the radiator control. I've had a couple of the Ford Sync systems, the Sync 1, Sync 2, and I guess I had Sync 2 and Sync 3. You know, and they were both pretty good. You know, a lot of people complained about the Sync 2, but overall it really wasn't bad. There were a few glitches. It was a little slow at points, but overall it's a pretty good system. This is leaps and bounds better. I didn't realize how bad the sync systems were until I used this in comparison, and I really like this a lot better. The controls are big and open, so the controls in this car overall are really good. The shifting, you know, is really good. These controls here, once you get familiar with the car, extremely easy to use. And you know, overall, controls are really good. Moving on to the handling, this car does handle really well. I've noticed that the front grip, the amount of G-force in a turn it's almost race car status. It does turns in really well. It handles really well. Once you get a little bit of heat in the tires, not too much, it even gets even better. So, so we've got an acceleration run here. Really slick road, so I'm gonna have to kind of feather it a little bit. Set in tour mode, so put it back into tour mode, leave the steering in tour, the exhaust and track, so it sounds good, and it's just an easy car to drive. Does really well in traffic. You can pretty much go and do whatever you want without any major hiccups. You know, you can, I'm not saying pull out in front of people, but you got enough power where you can get out of the way and go. It doesn't spin a lot. You know, my Mustang, I was always like, oh man, I can pull out in front of anybody in this thing, but realistically I can't, because it just blows the tires off. Whereas this thing just hooks and it goes. So it's a fun car to, it can be fun to drive on the street without being a dumbass. So we're in second gear now. We'll give it a little big giant black marks behind me, but you know, the car's going the whole time you're pulling. So you always get the people that ask, you know, would you recommend this car over that car? You know, which one's better? And you know, for me, it's kind of a funny story. I'm more of a Mustang guy. I've had lots of Mustangs. I never really liked the 5th gen Camaros. I felt the performance was lacking. They were a little bit heavy, but I was also kind of wrong about that. You know, since I've become more familiar with them, and they're actually pretty fast. They're pretty good cars. But I went to go down the story with this car. I went to go buy a 2015 Roush that had been on the dealer lot for a little over a year. They really had it marked down. It was competition orange, which I think was a hard color for them to sell. And I was going to buy it. I had decided that's the car I wanted. I went to go buy it, and the day before, or the day I go down there to buy it, they had sold it. And like I said, they'd had it for over a year. But and I thought, you know what, I really like the new Camaros. I'm going to go drive one anyways. I go drive this car, and I think, wow, I really like it. I think I'm going to do it. I like it better than the Mustang. But for me, it was like, you can't do that. You're a Mustang guy. You can't just go buy a Camaro. That's not okay. And so I left there, and in the back of my mind, I'm thinking the whole time, if I get a Mustang, because I found some in Vegas, and I thought if I get a Mustang, the whole time I'm going to be thinking I made the wrong choice. And so I went down and I got the Camaro. The day after I bought this, the Ford dealer called me back and said, hey, that guy that was going to buy the orange Roush Mustang, the deal fell through. You can come back and get it. And you know, I said, sorry, you know, I've already bought something else, and I'm really happy I did. If that Roush would have been available, I would have bought that. I really love the car. I'm glad it worked out that way. Would I recommend this car over a Mustang or a Challenger? You know, yes. But if somebody gets a Mustang or a Challenger, I wouldn't say they made the wrong choice, because they're both great at just different things. You know, this one's probably the fastest in pretty much all scenarios, but that doesn't make it the better car just because it's faster. And the Mustang, I felt like I was in a Mustang. It was nice. It was a little more upscale, but it's still, to me, it wasn't to this level. This feels a little bit better. about the way this is put together, the way this